Our top story tonight, African-American conservatives and Tea Party members once again under attack by the left. And their latest target is South Carolina Senator Tim Scott. Now, the NAACP, North Carolina president, said in reference to Senator Scott, quote, a ventriloquist can always find a good dummy. The extreme right wing down here in South Carolina finds a black guy to be senator, and he claims he's the first black since Reconstruction. And then he goes to Washington, D.C., and he articulates the agenda of the Tea Party. Pretty unbelievable. Last night, Senator Scott, he responded.
Instead of looking for an agenda of opportunity, what we're hearing is baseless rhetoric about the same old things that have not worked so far. And so for him to attack me, it's as if you have conservative principles, conservative ideas that actually work, why bother to even try those?
All right, we want you to join the discussion tonight. Log on to our Facebook page and share your thoughts. Also, you can trend at 10, and you can sound off using the Twitter hashtag Hannity. My address, @SeanHannity. Here with us now, former Florida Congressman Allen West and the president for the Center for Urban Renewal and Education, and former congressional candidate Star Parker. Welcome, both of you. Good to see you.
Thank you, Sean.
We've discussed this issue a lot. Colonel West, I am really fed up. Senator Scott represents my values and the values of many of Americans and the people of South Carolina. And for the NAACP to do this and seemingly get away with it in the media is unconscionable to me. I want to get your reaction.
Well, of course, it's unconscionable, but what you have to understand as a black conservative, not only do you have to take on the white liberal media establishment, but also you have to fight within the black community. When you think about Tim Scott's story, that's a great American story. When you think about the story of Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas, another great story. When you look at the original writings and the principles of Booker T. Washington that talked about education, entrepreneurship, and self-reliance, those are conservative principles. And those are really the formulation of the basis of what enabled the black community to be strong. But now you see these charlatans that want a dependency society in the black community.
Star, let's get your reaction. And I'm going to show all the examples that we were able to accumulate just today to make a point. Tell me what you think.
I'm glad you added just today. You're absolutely right. They have taken the culture war to a whole new level. Half this country agrees with the conservative Tea Party, including many African Americans. But what the NAACP does is four things. They promote abortion, they promote homosexuality, they sue parents who want to take their children out of this chaos, and then they mock anyone that disagrees with their liberal agenda.
Yeah. All right, let's go through three quick examples. We'll start with the NFL. We're all focused on the Super Bowl right now, and you had Richard Sherman. Remember the interview with Aaron Andrews after the game Sunday night? Here's what he said.
The final play, take me through it.
Well, I'm the best corner in the game. When you try me with a sorry receiver like Crabtree, that's the result you're going to get. Don't you ever talk about me.
Who was talking about you?
Crabtree, don't you open your mouth about the best. Or I'm going to shut it for you real quick. LOB.
All right, and Joe, back over to you.
All right, now yesterday at a press conference, he's saying that if you use the word thug, that is the equivalent of the N-word. I'll get your reaction to this statement.
Of all the backlash, the word thug, does that bother you more than any?
The only reason it bothers me is because it seems like it's the accepted way of calling somebody the N-word nowadays. You know, it's like everybody else said the N-word, and then they say thug, and they're like, oh, that's fine. And that's where it's kind of, you know, it kind of takes me aback, and it's kind of disappointing because they know what's the definition of a thug, really.
Your reaction, Colonel West?
Well, I think the whole situation around Richard Sherman has somewhat been blown out of proportion. Look, I grew up watching Muhammad Ali, and everyone knows about Muhammad Ali and the things that he said and his boisterous nature. And no one attacked him for that. And so when you go onto the field and, you know, you ask an interview immediately following an incredible play that Richard Sherman did, and he responded with adrenaline and the heat of the moment, I think that we've taken it a little bit too far. But now I'm very sad to see that we're trying to delve into, once again, that realm of racism and you know, trying to equate this thug word to other words.
All right, let's go to Jeremiah.
Yeah, but see, this is what happens, though, Sean. I want to say that's what happens, though, when you get away from traditional values, when you get away from limiting the role of government. We start getting into these fights over political correctness. This is not about race and him being called a thug and or the N-word that now we're all just calling the N-word because we're purging ourselves. This is why the conservative worldview with a limited role of government and free markets worked for this country and no longer works, because we have reduced ourselves. We've reduced ourselves because of liberals.
Let me go to two other examples, more in the political realm. One is from the Reverend Jeremiah Wright, and he likens the Tea Party to a lynch mob. And the other, Senator Chuck Schumer, speaking at the Center for American Progress, blasting the Tea Party as racist, sexist, anti-gay. There seems to be a narrative in the political sense. I'll play back to back and ask you both if this will work as a tactic in this election year.
Got some unfinished business on the agenda with one branch of the Tea Party being nothing but a 2.0 upgrade of the lynch party. We got some unfinished business on the agenda with some folks doing everything they can to get that black man out of that White House.
Tea Party adherents, many of them, see an America that's not reflective of themselves and the America they have known, and they just don't like it. The distribution of power is changing. Women are still underrepresented, but far, far better represented in both the House and Senate. An African American sits in the Oval Office. Latinos are running for office more than ever before. Mores and values are changing. Marriage equality in a very short time has gone from anathema to accepted in state after state. Yes, things have changed. White Anglo-Saxon men are exclusively not running the country anymore.
Tea Party, nothing more than a 2.0 upgrade to the lynch party, and then you heard the comments of Schumer. Reaction, Colonel.
Well, I think that the left is very concerned about the impact that the Tea Party can have in the midterm elections that are coming up, just the same as they saw in 2010. So you have to go back to the Alinsky tactic of demonizing and attacking them and trying to show them as being extremists. But look at what you have here on your show tonight. Star Parker and myself, we definitely are not white Anglo-Saxon Protestant males, and we have spoken at many Tea Party events. It's about principle. And just because you stand up for, limited government, fiscal responsibility, individual liberty, free market, and a strong national defense should not make you someone that should be attacked. But they are afraid of those principles.
Star, how should conservatives counter this narrative, which is almost repeated every day? Every day I could probably pull up cuts just like we just played here.
Well, I'm glad that you pull them up because it energizes us. What the Tea Party is are people from just quiet communities all over this country that have had enough. We've had 50 years of liberalism controlling our schools, controlling our economies, and they've had enough. And it will impact the election. The more they do this, the more people are going to turn out and change Washington. We're going to get the Senate to have some common sense again in how we do the business of this country. Remember, the left is only half the country. The other half is now awake and engaged.
All right, good to see you both. Thank you both for being with us. And coming up.